Business Roundtable. So if you did not catch that, you need to go on YouTube where we had all these luminaries and leaders that were talking about the where we are in black business in the state of Illinois. So I want you guys to go back and look at that. Check it out. It's very important. And so now, without any further ado, I want to introduce to some and present to others the founder, the chairman, the prez of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Larry Ivory. Come on, Mr. Prez, why don't you wake us up this morning, sir?
Hey, welcome to the Wake Up Show in Chicago. Glad to be on the air again. My name's Larry Ivory. I'm the president and CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and chairman of the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce. It is always a delight to be on air talking to our listening constituents about diversity, equity, and inclusion, a big issue for us.
And now,
Next, we
y'all,
have Lord Mike. Lord Mike, you want to introduce yourself, man?
Sure, indeed. Peace and blessings to the true and living and grand rising. I am Lord Mike, Marketing and Communications Director for the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, President of our Peoria Black Chamber of Commerce, and the founder and president of the Lord Mike Industries. Pleasure to be on with everyone this morning. We woke.
Absolutely. We also have a special guest. I want to introduce our chairman of the board, Will Cowles, who's also the deputy mayor of Champaign, Illinois, the great University of Illinois, where their headquarters is located. Mr. Cowles, say hello to us, Mr. Chairman.
You muted, Will.
I think our chairman is muted, so he got to
Good
get us off
morning from
mute.
Champaign. Good morning from Champaign. Will Kyles from the great city of Champaign.
Super. Hey, well, guys, we're in the crux of a lot of things happening. One of the important issues that we have coming up, an event that we got coming up, is Lobby Day. And we're going to talk about Lobby Day, but we also have a special guest who's going to be coming on here shortly, right after our break. You'll hear from Wind Creek. They have a great event that's going to be coming up on the 26th of this month for vendors. We're going to be talking to one of the leaders of Wind Creek about the vendor fair that's coming up. And then we're going to get right back into our conversation about Lobby Day, why it's important, what we need to do in order to make it happen. So I'm excited to be here with you again today. I'm going to turn it back over to MC. MC, what you got for us, man?
listen, Prez, this is what I want to know. When we had the Black Business Roundtable on this past Wednesday, what was the most exciting part of that conversation? And I open it up. Matter of fact, everybody else on the show today was actually at the roundtable. Guys, what did you draw from that? Because I got so much feedback from LinkedIn, from people chiming in on LinkedIn, telling me about this. This is something that we need to do more often. We need to have conversations that are talking about our businesses with solutions and how do we affect change with our local politicians. I got a lot of feedback off of LinkedIn. I'm curious to find out what was your feedback from this past show. What did you guys get the most excited about? And just in case anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, you hit the Wake Up Show Chicago on YouTube, and you will find the Black Business Roundtable. The entire broadcast has already been posted. But go ahead, Doc. Anybody, tell me what you got from that event.
Lord Mike?
Yep, sure thing. I'll jump right in there, man. Probably the most, and not to just dovetail off of what the great MC just laid down there as far as the feedback, but that was probably one of the most encouraging things that I received. And that's probably only because we talk about our buttons and our hot topics a lot more frequently than the guests and stuff. But the fact that if you can punch at Wake Up Show Chicago into any of your favorite social platforms and jump right on with us. You can jump on with us here today. You can jump on with us with most of with the roundtable event, other outside events that we do when we do live podcasts. We got a lot of feedback and a lot of participation on Facebook, YouTube. Got great comments out there, and there were a lot of people that plugged in there. So that's always encouraging to me that when we can connect with our fan base there. So outside of the great content, which we had fantastic content. Um, that was the most that kind of rose to the top for me and encouraged me the most. The feedback from the different social platforms.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that statement. I think most importantly, we talked a lot about solutions, and I believe that a lot of times when these conversations occur, we talk more about the problem. We spend a lot of time identifying the problem, but we don't really spend a lot of time identifying actionable items that we can work through. And I believe this was an opportunity to talk about actionable items that we can actually do today. And so that was the biggest thing. And then a part of that, was the why are we in the situation and why do we think the way we think. Again, a lot of times when we have these conversations, we have surface level where we identify the issue, but we don't identify why do we have some challenges with businesses supporting each other. The why is sometimes more important to spend more time about than just identifying the issue.
Yeah, I'll just give you kind of the thing that stuck with me the most was the fact that there seemed to be some consensus about, and I call it "we are family," and that family. We have to look at each other as family because when we take a look at the civil rights movement from a historical perspective, the civil rights movement was a movement where we collectively were in unison together, and I think it's been a long time since we been in that type of unity outside of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. And I think when we come together, we recognize that when we come together, that we have the power to transform and make things happen. And sometimes we allow the small things to kind of divide us against ourselves. And if ever there's a time for us to come together, is the attack that we're seeing on DEI and obviously the Supreme Court ruling on affirmative action. Ever there's a time for us to come together, that time is now. So that's what I took, and that's what I got kind of the most um, insightful, the most information on that I tuck away and say, hey, you're right. We really got to find a way of coming back
Prez, we're
together
gonna pick
and
that up.
staying focused on
Prez,
what's important.
we're gonna pick that up after the commercial break, Prez. We're gonna pick that up after the commercial break. Come on. And or YouTube and you comment in there, guess what? We're gonna see them and we can even answer questions from there. But right now, we're gonna bring on a very special guest from Wing Creek Casinos. We have our own Wing Creek Southland coming to the Chicagoland area in Hazelcrest, and we are really excited about it and the opportunities that they are bringing to us. So, without any further ado, I want to bring Mr. Scott on. And Scott, are you on with us?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, sir. Just for your purposes, we also have Mr. Larry Ivory on here with us, and Lord Mike, and all the guys that you usually see. So, you know what, Larry, I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to you because I know you know Scott intimately, and what we got going on. Wake us up.
Well, hey,
Yes,
Scott,
sir.
again, welcome to the Wake Up Show. I just wanted Scott to kind of give us a little bit of your background, Scott, and then let's talk about what you guys got coming up on the 26th.
Yes. Well, my name is Scott Kozlowski. I'm the purchasing manager for the new Wind Creek Chicago Southland property that's going to be coming up here shortly. We're very excited about opening up this property. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. And Wind Creek, at Wind Creek, we're all about taking care of the community and our employees and the people that we're around every day. So we thought it'd be a great idea to have a vendor fair and just kind of introduce ourselves and introduce ourselves to the community and meet local businesses and give us the opportunity to tell local businesses what our needs are and then see what they have to offer. So we partnered with the Chicago Minority Business Development Council.
What that means, and one of the other questions I had is I had a number of people call me yesterday and said, Larry, I want to come to the vendor fair, but I didn't RSVP by the 14th of March. Can people still come if they didn't RSVP by the 14th?
Yes, they absolutely can still come. Um, there'll be people at a table to welcome them, and there'll be other decision makers that'll be walking around that they could talk with, and if we have a slot.
Okay. Many years ago, when the chamber got involved with working with Wind Creek, because I saw some things I had not seen in other places. And I went down to Alabama to check out the casino and check out the people and the diversity that existed from top to bottom. And just the culture was really unique in terms of it. But what I was really, one of the things I was very impressed with is that in the midst of COVID, when COVID hit, where you guys had no obligation to pay your employees, you guys paid your employees 100% as if they were still working, which was pretty impressive. And I don't know of many organizations that were doing that at that point in time when there was no work to be done. You couldn't work from home, but you were still paying employees. Why do you guys have such a culture of community? Why is that a part of who you guys are as an organization? Fantastic. So my last question, Scott, unless one of our other hosts have a particular question, is that this is going to be this the 26th of this month. But even if people don't get to this event, you guys still have an opportunity where you have an open policy where, just in case you can't make it tomorrow, that you still absolutely. We thank you also. I think Mike, you had a quick question, Lord Mike.
No, no, not more of a comment than a question. But frankly, your innate powers of telepathy kind of pulled that out of me, and you took the words out of my mouth, President Ivory. I was going to speak to, and I still can't speak to the importance of getting registered for these fantastic events. Wind Creek, I can certainly attest um, to the hospitality as a host from Wind Creek. They are extremely hospitable in all of their environments, and all of their staff and people are really hospitable and welcoming. They are extremely engaging and totally approachable. But it is important, when you have great events like this come up, when we have events, whether it be our networking events, Lobby Day, for instance, Lobby Day 2024, you got to get registered, because even though our organizations, we still welcome people in, and we always try to look for an opportunity to get you connected. If you really want to get that real ground floor connectivity, you got to register, because, for example, on this great vendor fair that Wind Creek has coming up, if you want to do some real matchmaking, get in. Make sure that you get registered so they can get your information and they can really properly pair you up where it really makes sense and where they can really create some opportunity there. So registration is important, even though they're going to be very engaging, approachable, and hospitable, and still welcome you all to come in. If you really want to get in tune, get registered as soon as you can.
Hey, well, Scott, we want to thank you for coming on the show. And Wind Creek is going to be on the show a number of times to listen to other key members of the Wind Creek organization. Again, the best of success to you and continue the great job that you guys are doing. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hey, MC. I know we're still glowing from our first Illinois State Black Chamber and the Wake Up Shows Black Business Roundtable from this past Wednesday. Are we still doing testimonies?
Yeah, we can listen. We can still take some more testimonies now.
Do we have time for a call, maybe?
Yes, we can.
Let's hit it then. Let's
We do have time for call. Listen, you know what? All right, here we go. So, Mr. Daniel McDuffie, welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Indeed.
That's right, man. It's our day to be represented.
You know, I think if
I
I
think we
could,
get ahead to our commercial break.
I thank you, MC. I got excited, especially that we took a trip to Springfield, and I want people to know that Lobby Day isn't just a day where we just go out and petition. Lobby Day, and I love for you all to comment on this, is a part of the electoral process. You see, what most people, and I'm talking from an from a politician, political standpoint, most of our education is about getting out the vote, right? Get out the vote. We do a great job with that. But then what ends up happening is we miss out on the process of engaging the elected official, very elected official that we voted. And so whether they do what we want them to do or not, the reality is there's something missing called the engagement process. And so we send them to Springfield, we send them to Washington, we send them to our local offices. But after that, we just meet them in the grocery store. I can't tell you how many people who said they voted for me. And I know some of them did, some of them may have not. But what happens is you send your elected official to a lonely fight. You send them amongst people who have various issues. And the people whose issues get the most clout is the one that's always spending the time with the elected official. So I could be long winded on that, but I wanted to stop there because that I think Lobby Day is always seen as just a day, but really it's a part of the electoral process.
Indeed.
Well,
As important as it is.
absolutely.
I'm sorry, President Ivor. Go ahead.
No, well, I'm just simply saying that Will is right on the money. Is that it's understanding the political process. Out of sight is out of mind. And when we don't come down to Springfield and participate and spend time with our elected officials and support them economically, then we don't leverage everything to get the maximum return on our investment. And Will's right on the money. So I'll kind of pass the ball to Lord Mike or MC in terms of what you guys want to chime in on that particular question, what Will just said.
Well, I would just say
Well, you know what?
really
For me,
quickly that um, in the spirit of Sam L. and Morgan Freeman, who almost protest against Black History Month, all those who would say that we need to celebrate Black History 365, such as myself, I don't protest Black History Month, but I do believe that we should be celebrating Black history every day. It's the same spirit of lobbying. It's not just a one day thing. It's something that we should incorporate into our ethos to stay in their face and to keep our interests right in place.
No question
well,
about it.
as
No
Will
question
as
about
Will
it.
But and
as
I
Will
don't
was
want to I
speaking,
don't want to belabor.
it gave me.
Go ahead, MC.
I say, as Will was speaking, what came to mind was the idea of you have somebody, you put an ad out here that you're hiring, and the person comes in and they interview, and you interview three or four
Come
of them,
on
and then
now,
you choose
MC,
which one you think
preach it to
is the
us.
best candidate to come and work for your company. You know what I'm saying? And so now you decide, you done already decided what you're gonna pay them, and then they come to work for you. Now, one or two things is gonna happen. Either you're gonna let them come punch in, and they're gonna move autonomously as they choose to, or you're going to direct and guide them as to exactly what you need them to do. Why? Because you're paying them, you're giving them a salary. And so it's the exact same thing when it comes to our electoral process. These politicians come and they interview with us, and then we decide which one of them we want to hire. And I know somebody might be thinking to ourselves, we're not hiring them. No, we are hiring them with our tax dollars, because not only do they get paid, but then they also get to decide how our tax dollars get spent. And so if we let them just move autonomously, then that means that whoever that they run across, just like Will said, is going to be who they're going to listen to. And so we need to go down to Springfield, and we need to talk to these people who we've hired to run our state, to enact laws and bills that will help our businesses. And because when our businesses get help, that means that our communities get help. And as Prez has always said, we need economic empowerment. And so as our black businesses grow and they get the help that they need, so they get access to procurement and funds, then that means that we are directly affecting our communities, and we begin to turn the ships around and affect our children in a positive way, and affect our businesses in a positive way. Will is right. We got to show up because we didn't hire these people. They need to hear our voices.
Well, I think, and like I said, you guys can cut me off, and when I'm speaking too long, but it's very simple. To all of your points, it's like somebody who says, "I think that we should all wear black ties or blue shirts." somebody says, I think we should wear red shirts. Well, the person that says, "Hey, I'm going to get to the person who's in charge of making this decision." If 100 people say, "You know what? I think we should wear black shirts, and this is why," and they're constantly saying that, and the person who says, "Well, I think we should wear black shirts," and only 2 people show up, and guess what? The 2 people that show up may not even don't. It's a this is a whole education, right? But who do you think is going to get the win? The person who lobbied and who showed up
Come
the
on.
most. It's just that simple. Sometimes it's more complicated, but we're talking about the things that we can do. These are easy solutions that we can do, and I think that lobbying your elected official, as we're looking to do, is one of the things that not only we can do, not only we should do, but we have to do because again, it is a part of the electoral process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
One of the things I'd say too, guys, is that, not only is it part of the process, but we often sometimes feel that we're left out, and we're left out because perhaps we haven't followed the recipe for success. And we watch others who are doing better, and you'll find that those who are doing better understand the system and how they work. So
That's
when
good.
we go down to lobby day, we want to come and make sure our voices are heard. And our voices is heard. If I go down, it means something. If I come down, it means something. If Will comes to me, but when a collective group come down and they have a clear agenda and not just coming down to kind of say we just want an opportunity, what does that mean? What are you I mean? You got to be very targeted and very specific, and you got to give the legislative body something to do and something to ask for. So when we come down to Springfield, we have a clear agenda. We know what we want. We know what legislation we're for, and we know what legislation we're against, and we got an ask. And if you don't have an ash, you have no business going down to Springfield, because that's what they're there to do. It's to represent your interests. So this lobby day is a collective energy of black business voice being heard. If you're a black business, you want to come down to lobby day because you want that voice to be magnified. And the more people come to lobby day, the more people engage in this process, the greater your voice will be, and you won't be left out. And we always say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. We're on the menu a lot of times because we're not at the table. And this lobby day is going to be a historical day for Black business. So come join us and be a part of this historical day in Springfield on April the 10th.
President Ivory, you said something impactful.
Amen.
What was the number one question that they asked us when we went to every elected official or group? They said, "What? What bill are you pushing?" That was
Yeah,
the number
absolutely.
one question that everyone asked.
Do you have a
Secondly,
bill?
yes, that's what they asked. Number one question, everyone asked the same exact question.
And you know what kind
Absolutely.
of
Secondly,
I apologize for interrupting you, Will. What really kind of blew me away was how direct they were in asking us if we had a bill. I'm like, wait, we can write bills? I didn't know we could write bills. I thought we could champion bills and bring some issues to the table. They're like, man, do you have a bill? Which I know was still, their way of asking what bill were we championing. But
yes,
the level of engagement that we got when we went down there, and I hadn't been down to lobby in a while. We weren't going down even necessarily to lobby. We were going down to connect. But there was a lot of engagement. They were a lot of the legislators and the different people. They were very direct in saying, "Hey, we want to know what's important to you right now." So I can only imagine it's going to be amplified and magnified on our actual lobby day, April the 10th.
and that's an
Listen,
important
I want
point. I
to
think.
bring on another
Secondly,
caller right. I want to bring on another caller right now. Mr. Robert Frazier, been on hold for a minute. I thank you for being.
Cherish members. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, Robert.
Absolutely,
You
Robert.
cherish
Yeah.
memory of the chamber too, President Ivory.
No, I'm just saying that I echo Robert saying we're the more we come together, the stronger our voices are, and when we have clear and concise asks, it's important, and it's a process. Even understanding how legislation goes from one committee, the first reading, second reading, how you can die in committee, who's carrying that legislation. We have to become more civic oriented in understanding the political process, because if we understand the process, then we can take advantage of the process and know how to get the desired results we want. And we have to also, Black business has to take some blame in terms of if it's not heard and it's not spending time down in Springfield at the level we should be, then our voices are not heard. So we're going to work hard on lobby day, but we're going to work hard spending time with great legislators down in Springfield to make sure that if you're giving money to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and they're in the budget every year and getting millions of dollars to their organizations, then we have a right to ask as a chamber for us to be included. If you're giving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce $2 million and they're in the budget, then we ought to be in the budget also as a Black Chamber of Commerce, because we have legislators who are just as capable, who understand the importance of business, and we got to push that. But we got to push that collectively, where they understand it is not just one person asking for that; it's all of us making sure that our tax dollar, because Black businesses, we got some very successful business. They pay taxes, we pay taxes, and we need to get a return on our investments at the same time. The same thing with Department of Transportation. We're going down there to meet with the Secretary of Transportation, and transportation is funded by a motor fuel tax, which means that if you're putting gas in your car, you're funding highway infrastructure. We got to make sure we participate.
Welcome back to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. I can't say it quite like our other battle buddy, our other host, Buddy Love says
Battle,
it, but I
battle buddy.
I try, I try sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I try. You
Ah,
know what, Prince? I think one of Buddy gonna call me after this. I bet he is. But Prince, one of the statements that is incredibly powerful and speaks volumes is this statement: "You don't know what you don't know." And we're talking about businesses coming down and having a voice, but I do not want it to be lost the fact that this is an educational opportunity. When my very first lobby day, I learned about the processes. I was learning about the opportunities that were available to my business, how I can have a voice in it. I was learning about the different bills that were being put in place. You know, as a business owner, you can't get to the point where you think you know it all because you know what your widget does and how to put it together and how you're going to sell it. There's so much more that's affecting our businesses as well as giving our businesses opportunities. And so this is really a master class. When we came down there last year, it was truly a master class. I mean, even my brother Lord Mike said he did not know that we can actually create bills and bring them and present them, and get somebody to champion a bill that we created. I never knew that. So, I just want to encourage the businesses that are listening in on today that yes, we want your voice, we want your body there, but this is a master class. This is where you sit at the table and you truly begin to learn exactly how politics and your tax dollars affect your business and how you can have a voice in it. I just uh,
And
it's a master class, guys. That's what it
and when
is.
you know, and in the spirit of you don't know what you don't know, and I ain't trying to start no mess, but I'm just saying when I hear and I extract this from what the president said before we went into break there, just one of the comments that he made as far as going down and lobbying for the chamber, for our sustainability, for our lifeblood, right? When you have other chambers, such as the Hispanic Chamber, State Chamber, and they're written into the budget for a set amount every year for the last 5, 6, years, my question would be, why is the Black Chamber not written in already? I mean, if they can see the importance of making sure that they have the lifeblood and support of the state's resources, why would the Black Chamber not have the same type of support? I mean, especially being one of the oldest and most impactful chambers for Black businesses across Illinois. It's just kind of make one of the things that make you say, hmm.
Well, hey, let me respond to that guy because I want to make sure we're
You
clear.
know what? I
One,
want to
let me
break
just say this, MC, before you chime back in, is that what's important is that one, when we talk about legislation and what we understand, the chamber has always understood we have the ability to write legislation and get it. I think we're trying to make sure that people understand this is a process and how you make the process work for you. And it ain't new to us. The question is, have we gotten proficient at it? And if we are not participating in the opportunities and funding, then it means that we have to do more. We got to spend time because we got phenomenal leaders. We got on appropriation, you got Jahan Gordon on the House side, who's a great leader down in Springfield. You got Sims, who's on the Senate side, appropriations. We have a lot of things like, Simcoe Solution. That's a big issue that we're trying to get funded. They agreed to fund it, but if you don't get the money appropriated, then it doesn't happen. So there's things that I think we learn from going down to Springfield, taking time to listen, and that becomes very important. And I think it's up to us if black business isn't relevant because black people aren't taking time. Now, I heard a guy who called me up and said, Larry, look, I'm not going to make lobby day. I'm busy. I got some stuff to do. And I'm like, I understand. I appreciate that. But the reality of it is that when things go south, as they sometimes do, and you got problems, and you don't have a voice, then you're going to be the first person hollering that then they treated you unfairly. If you don't have a pit bull or someone to be an advocate to protect your house, if you got a bull with no teeth, someone walks right into your house, take what you got because you can't do nothing to stop them. It's important that the chamber is out here when you're sleeping. We're fighting to make sure that black business has a seat at the table. That's important, and I think we got to continue to push that. And if you're a business owner, you got to come down to Springfield. You got to take one day out of the year, especially for this, to make sure that your voice is heard.
it's they call this
absolutely.
pregame,
Yeah.
and I think one of the things that we can do pre is that Mr. Ivory still speaking?
No.
No, you got it, Will.
One of the things that we can do for smaller micro businesses is get a letter writing email campaign going so people know not only that we're coming, but also know that those smaller businesses that might not be able to make it, that if you have 1,000 letters before we show up, then that also keeps people engaged and involved. I'm pumped up, and I think because this is the education MC Lord Mike that you always talk about. If you don't know better, how can you do better?
Absolutely.
Come on.
I'm pumped up. I could go on. I think we need a part two to this show because I think a part 4 or 5 because I really really think that the education and what's being these are gold nuggets. Everybody tells you to go out and vote, but then we don't get a real education on what happened. So all of the money is spent on getting out to vote. And if you don't realize that these people are being petitioned like crazy, they
Crazy.
are being petitioned like
Yeah.
crazy, then I don't think that we don't understand the whole process.
Yeah.
Well, let me make
Yeah,
this
before
comment
we
real
run out
quick.
of
Is
time,
that go ahead,
I was
MC?
say
You're
before we
talking.
run out of time, I want to yes, sir. Before we run out of time, I want to bring one more caller on, Mr. Lester Blair, because he's been.
Peace on that, Lester.
Absolutely, Lester. Absolutely. Well, guys, I would say, again, that when we take a look at Lobby Day, coming down to Lobby Day and making our presence felt, it really is like Will and the rest of the team talked about education. Sometimes we lose because we don't understand the rules. And we can't complain to legislators if we never show up in Springfield, we never ask. And the good book says you have not because you ask not. So if we don't get organized and take advantage of the things and learn and educate our people, then we won't get to the place that we need to get to. And I think this whole process is about understanding. That's why we have a political pack out there that works aggressively on raising capital to support the right legislators who believe in the things that we believe in. Because if you don't have and don't support and you don't vote, then you don't matter at the end of the day. And people can't complain about the process if you don't work the process and understand the process. I always say if you shoot a shot, but it's an incredible shot on the other side of the court, but you're out of bounds, it simply don't count.
Yeah, true that. And just speak to Will's point real quick. Um, be on the lookout for the next Black Business Roundtable because that was another just great academic platform to give us more insight, more education, more understanding, and more direction. Most importantly to me, more direction of how we really move this thing towards solutions and towards the goalposts.
Absolutely,
You know
absolutely.
what? We're gonna be putting it out on Monday when the next Black Business Roundtable is. We got a few more logistics to work out, but we got so much great feedback from it that we're gonna do a part two. And we've already established that we were gonna do this once a month. But coming up to Lobby Day, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna kick it off one more time because there's so much information that needs to be shared, and there's so many people who are clamoring to get the information. So we're gonna answer the people, we're gonna respond, we're gonna do what they're asking us to do, and we're gonna pop off another one next week. So Monday, you need to be on the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce newsletter. So you can go to our website, ilbcc.org, and get on there. Or if you drop it in the comments for this show, we'll make sure that our office gets it and get you guys put in.
And visit the socials because we're always posting on the socials. We'll have posts out there too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, Mike.
Absolutely.
So, guys, let me just make this other
So
comment. We
here's
have
the
a
deal.
couple minutes before we're going to close off here. We got about 2 minutes to go. Again, we just encourage everybody to, come and participate on Lobby Day. It's going to be great networking. You're going to have a lot of wonderful people. We had a chance to meet with an incredible leader with Ameren, Illinois, Lenny, who's going to be coming down to Springfield. They got some exciting things they're doing in Springfield. And guys, we need to understand how to use our voices to help move agendas forward. And this is an important part of this whole process, as Will understands being an elected official. and being the deputy mayor of Champaign, and my hat's off to him. But we also not only need to understand how Springfield works, we need to understand how Washington works. And we got an election coming up in 2024 that we better pay attention to, because if the road people get in and they have control, we're going to get hurt by it. So it's important for us to always engage in the political process and be a part of what's going to happen. And you come and be a part of what's going to happen on April the 10th. We're going to meet at the Lincoln statue at 10 o'clock, where we're going to take pictures. We're going to have a photographer. We're going to have a videographer there. And we're going to basically remember this day in terms of what we're doing. I'll let my chairman have the closing words, Mr. Chairman.
I'm thankful for you all for the privilege and opportunity to be able to talk, and I second everything that's been said, and look forward to seeing everybody not just on April 10th, but throughout the year, engaging in these conversations because they're really educational.
At Wake Up Show Chicago, stay in
Listen, we
tune.
want everybody to stay tuned. We want everybody to stay tuned for another 40 seconds. We got some information about Lobby Day, and it's gonna play at the end. But we want you to stay tuned because too many people have been asking us about how do we get more information. So we went ahead and put it together for you today. But we want to thank you for listening to the Wake Up Show Chicago podcast by the Illinois Chamber of Commerce. Y'all
Peace
stay
and
woke
blessings.
now.
Step into history with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce as we make a powerful statement with Lobby Day 2024. Experience the energy as we gather the largest concentration of black business owners ever to advocate for black-owned businesses at our state capitol. Join us and your colleagues in bringing the strength of our collective voice directly to the halls of power. Let's ensure our presence is felt in every corner of the building, on every floor, and at the tables where decisions are made. Together, we will make a lasting impact and pave the way for a brighter future for black entrepreneurship in Illinois. Don't miss this opportunity to be a part of history in the making. To find out more information or to become a member, visit our website at ilbcc.org.